And the little data release now, the core PCE, obviously coming in, lower than expectations, might have brought some volatility into the market. And I think there's going to be quite a bit of volatility throughout the week. And I'm expecting, some good price action for cryptos. So Bitcoin, we're not going to waste too much time on Bitcoin. 92K, still above 92K, still bullish above 92K. This has been the thesis for a while. I said once we reclaim this, it is likely that we are going to head up to that 110K level. And this is the level that I'm still looking at, guys. 110K is where I'm going to be taking profits from my long all the way down here at about 81,600 over there. That is a trade. We're still in this, haven't taken anything off the table. But now, guys, I actually want to go into Solana because Solana has just fired off a great signal, and I have taken the trade now, guys. So let's get straight into Solana. So this is the Solana long. This is the potential trade up here. Let's get rid of that. I'll discuss the trade before. So basically, if you look at Solana, it's looking pretty good here. And we can see that, we had this down sloping resistance over here and the 50-day EMA, which we broke out. Obviously deviating underneath that major range low, deviated underneath price up above. And normally when you deviate a range low, you do naturally gravitate towards the top of the range. So right now we do have this over here, bang. And what you can see right now is that we've just tested this as support, okay? So we broke out of the 50-day EMA and the downsloping resistance over there, and we have now tested that as support. You can see right now we are testing that as support. So you can expect a bounce from the zone over here. So I think it's a good idea to take a long from the zone. I have taken a long, guys, over here. I'll be posting it on the Telegram groups after the show. The trade will look something like this, guys. So long from over there, stop at about the $133 level over there, because if we lose this level and roll over and lose the 50-day EMA, we'll most likely test it as support and then come down to the zone over here. And this will give us another buying opportunity, guys. So this is the trade on Solana. Basically, going long at the zone over here, if you want to take it right over here or wait for it to come a bit lower, either way, it's a decent risk to reward of at least 5-to-1. So this is the exact trade I've taken. I've gone long from the zone over here at about 142.5, put my stop loss at about 133, and I am targeting that $180 level for Solana as my take profit. Very decent risk to reward here. We got 4.2-to-1 risk reward, meaning that if we risk $1, we are able to potentially gain $4.2 if this trade does play out, of course. And often, when you do break out of being stuck below the 50-day EMA, you do come back and you give a little retest, and then off you go. So that's exactly what happened over here when we lost it. We lost the 50-day EMA, came up, retested it, and then followed the trend to the downside. So potentially the same thing's happening here. Obviously, we tested as resistance. We broke through. Then we broke out of the downsloping resistance over there, tested this as support. And then let's see, guys. I think this is a decent trade. Stop loss at 133. Let's see what happens here. Obviously, don't risk more than 1% of your portfolio. 1 to 2% is normally okay for a trade like this. And we are waiting for this to play out, guys. Big news events this week. So tomorrow, unemployment claims, not a biggie. But on Friday, we do have the NFP, guys. NFP Friday, first Friday of the month. And then next week, we do have quite a few events. Federal funds rate, massive news event next week. So I'm expecting volatility to pick up. Volatility, there wasn't much volatility over the past few weeks, as I mentioned, and that allowed Bitcoin to go on that trending move, guys, because there were no news events, there were no events to stop the party. We did get a nice trending move to the upside. And guys, just remember that Bitcoin is bullish above 92K, guys. So if Bitcoin is above 92K and just grinding sideways, you can expect a continuation up here to the range highs. Absolutely, guys. Let's get into Ethereum quickly. Ethereum is struggling a little bit. Of course, it's struggling relative to the majority of the other tokens. It's still stuck below the 50-day EMA. And what you can see here, I have taken a long. And what you can see here with Ethereum is that as soon as it breaks this 50-day EMA, I think it's going to have a big move to the upside. And The target that I'm looking at is this downsloping resistance over here. So I do see Ethereum, if it does break out of the 50-day EMA, having a nice move into the $2,000 region over there. And that will also look like one big deviation. It'll look like a huge deviation, a deviation on the weekly time frame, a little deviation over there. But for now, we could be forming some kind of inverse head and shoulders, something like that. But we are forming higher lows on the daily time frame. The level that I really want to see Ethereum get above is this zone over here, guys, 2,100. 2,100 for me is the structure break. This will be the break of structure. So you can see Bitcoin's break of structure was this high over here. We broke this high, break of structure, and now that flips us into bullish territory. We're obviously waiting for a potential higher low before moving up. But Ethereum, because it slid like this, bang, this is the zone that you look on the daily time frame and say, okay, well, if we get above 2,100, that would be the break of structure, guys. There's a comment about SUI over here. We'll get into SUI now. So basically, Ethereum, there's no need to go long on Ethereum. I mean, I'm personally long, trying to front run that move. But if Ethereum does reclaim 2,100, the obvious trade to me would be, okay, well, we'll long the zone over there. Stops would go below there at 1,500 odd, and then we are targeting the top of the range at 4,000, and that gives us a risk reward of 3.8 to 1, guys. So that is the trade for Ethereum. Obviously, it hasn't fired off yet, but that is most likely the trade for Ethereum. Let's get into SUI. I have not taken a SUI long. I've been waiting to get into a position, but this market's just been pretty vertical. So I'm interested in SUI at the zone over here. $2.80 personally is where I am interested in buying SUI. It is obviously quite a way down, but we only take high probability trades here, guys. So if SUI drops another 17 odd percent, I would be interested in SUI. And of course, breaking the EMAs, we're most likely going to get a golden cross. What's the golden cross? Well, it's when the 50-day EMA crosses above the 200-day EMA, puts it in a bullish uptrend. And when this happens, price often gravitates towards that cross as a magnet, which will give us an unbelievable buying opportunity for SUI. So what you can see for SUI is we had the break of structure. This was the, let me get rid of that just because it is in the way of the diagrams here. We obviously said that, okay, well, once we break this $2.82, we are in a bullish market structure. This is the break of structure. So we did break that structure and we haven't had a pullback yet, guys. So this is the zone that I'm looking. Of course, this is the last high over there and it lines up with the EMA. So I think this zone is a massive zone for SUI. Will we come into that zone? I'm not sure we'll come into that zone, but this is the high probability zone. It's very tough to take a long from current zone now because, your take profit would be over here. And where's your point of invalidation, guys? So you could easily come down here. What goes up must come down at some point. So your invalidation would be over here. And, if SUI has to continue into this all-time highs over there, this risk to reward is still not 3 to 1. So SUI, guys, we're going to have to be patient on this one. So what I would do is I would set my buy orders over there and then obviously targeting slightly lower levels. And this is the high probability trade, guys. If SUI does come into the zone over here, this gives us a nice buying opportunity and a risk reward of roughly 3 to 1, which is a favorable trade, guys. So that is the analysis on SUI. I would be waiting for a higher low to form in the zone over here and then potentially moving to the upside. But only time will tell, guys. Time will tell, of course. But yeah, the market's holding up here. Let's get into XRP quickly. We're still in this XRP trade. It didn't hit our TP1, came just short of that. We have moved our stop loss to break even. So if we get stopped out, it is what it is. But what I'm seeing here is, most likely just chop around, waiting for Friday's price action. But if you do take this high to the low over there, this $2.50 is the halfway point. And I am expecting price to hit this $2.50 zone before choosing a direction up or down. This would be the resistance to get above. So if XRP can get above here, then it's looking really positive and most likely a move back to all-time highs, guys. So XRP, in my opinion, is one of the most bullish looking cryptos because it's been, its EMAs have been oscillating around current price action because price has been holding up quite well. And because of that, we never got a death cross. If you look at something like Solana, that obviously had a death cross over here at the end of February, that had a death cross. If you look at Ethereum, mid-February, that had a death cross. Bitcoin just avoided the death cross over there. But XRP didn't come close, guys. So this is why I think XRP is one of the stronger cryptos, because it is holding up relatively well to its move. I mean, most altcoins have fully retraced that Trump victory low over there, and XRP hasn't even come close. In fact, it came to about the 50% level at max, even with the recent low, which tells me that it's very, very, very strong, guys. So XRP is looking very, very strong. Bitcoin dominance, absolutely ripping. I did think there'd be a potential top here, but I've proven to be wrong on this trade. But again, we haven't had confirmation. There was speculation that this might happen. But what we need is a breakdown of this upsloping support and then come into that 50-day, come below the 50-day EMA, test it as resistance, and then down we go for Bitcoin dominance, and that should be your altcoin season, guys. That should be the altcoin season, waiting for that to happen. USDT dominance, looks like it's forming a potential low over here. This was the high probability zone for a bottom on USDT dominance and potentially a top for the crypto market, of course, coming into the 200-day EMA whilst above it and coming into the 50% level whilst above it. Very, very, very obvious zone for a potential local bottom over there. What I'm expecting is maybe a move up into that 50-day EMA and then continuation downwards. And once we're trading underneath the 50% level, once USDT dominance is trading below 4.94%, this is where you can expect crypto to basically go vertical, guys. So something like this, chop around here for a bit. Who knows how high we go. Once we lose this level over here, you can expect a fast move down here. And this is when cryptocurrencies will be doing that massive vertical move to the upside. So one thing I'm also looking at the moment, guys, so basically, sorry, to go back to this, expect a low to form here. Let's see where the next high comes in. What you can do is obviously mark off the 50%. You can say, okay, well, if it gets back above 5.6%, we can expect this to maybe move to the upside. No one looks at this, guys, and this is the USDC dominance, USDC dominance. And USDC dominance has been front running the majority of the moves. Okay, so this is definitely one thing that we have to put on our watch list and definitely watch going into the rest of 2025. USDC dominance, guys. I called the market top over there. Obviously in hindsight, double bottom, very clean over there. And what I'm looking at the moment is, yes, we have lost the 50-day EMA and we have tested it as resistance now. But what I'm looking for a local top is USDC dominance coming into that 1.85% right over here, the zone over here, of course. And this is the 50% level of the top. It's called the top, obviously the altcoin top early December, all the way to the low at mid-April, early mid-April. That 50% level comes in at 1.85%. So I'm expecting this level to get tagged. It also lines up with 200-day EMA. So often if you lose the 50-day EMA, test it as resistance, you can expect a move to the 200-day EMA, something like that, guys. So this would obviously bode well for the crypto market. It does line up quite nicely with the Solana long as well. If you look at Solana, it looks inverted. So if we lose the 50-day EMA, I'm going to get stopped out of this. And it's the same thing as USDC dominance potentially reclaiming the 50-day EMA and making a move back to the upside, which obviously be negative for the crypto market, guys. But definitely watch, keep a lookout for this. Definitely watch USDC dominance. I think this is a very, very, very good indicator. And I'm going to be watching this, looking for the next market top, guys. Whenever this comes to the bottom, will it be at this 50% level or will it come lower? Only time will tell. But for now, you can only trade the charts that are in front of us. So let's have a look at high block capital, guys. On the lower term timeframes, there's a little bit of liquidity at 95.2. So maybe we could get a push up to that level over there. If we look on the higher term timeframes, we've got liquidity at that 91,500, obviously defending those Bitcoin lows over there. This would be 91,500, sweep of those lows. Very, very possible that we can sweep those lows, of course. 91.5, mark that level off on your charts. And obviously liquidity above us at that 96 level. So I would say, obviously there is liquidity above these highs and there's obviously liquidity below the lows. So I would mark these levels off on your charts and look for a potential deviation pattern over there. I think we could get into a good swing trade to the north side or the south side. Obviously liquidity on the higher term timeframes in the same zone, and a lot of liquidity at that 76K. So this is potentially telling us that we could see a move to the downside. Obviously, we have to lose 92K first, and we have to lose 85K first. If we lose 85K, then I'm quite sure that we are going to come down to the bottom. So the 50% level of the recent move, obviously from that 74K all the way to 96K, that move over there, wherever the high comes in, if we get a move up to 98K, then it would look something like that. That halfway point, if we lose that halfway point, then it's is going to be looking bearish and we could come revisit the lows. But for now, one step at a time, we first have to lose 92K and we secondly have to lose 85K if the top is at the zone over here for Bitcoin. The majority of market participants are actually positioned short, which is a bullish sign. If a lot of people are positioned short, then it means that there's most likely going to be a short squeeze. So this is a positive sign for longs. If a lot of people are short, you could get a short squeeze. And the levels for Solana, quite a bit of liquidity to the upside for Solana on the lower term timeframes. And the higher term timeframes, looks like we just came into that 144K. We are below that now, reclaiming the liquidity of Solana at 144, whilst everyone flips short. So look at that, everyone going short into the liquidity pool. This can often result in a short squeeze. That's why I have taken that Solana long, of course, guys. Not too much else to report on. I think Friday is going to be a big show. I'll obviously be going live on Friday. It's going to be NFP Friday. I think the market is going to be quite volatile until then, and I think we will get our trending move on Friday, obviously 2:30 my time. Still patiently waiting for the total crypto market to hit to 3 trillion. So it's coming into a very obvious SR flip zone. So this is also a break of structure. Over here, we can see we had this high, created a lower low. Now we've created a higher high relative to that low over there. A little bit of volume over there. And what you can put here is break of structure. So we can go BOS, break of structure, this zone over here. And all you want to see really is a higher low form. So if we sell off here, come into the EMAs, find a higher low, move up and take out these highs, then your bullish market structure is confirmed and you should just climb the stairs, guys. How we normally do it. Higher highs, higher lows until the trend changes. And then if the trend changes, we can start flipping short or closing out our long positions, guys. But for now, not too much to report on. I'm actually feeling a little bit sick, so I'm going to end the stream short today. But guys, this is the trade of the day, the Solana trade. I think it's a good trade. Little back test up here into the 50-day EMA. Stop loss just below there. But guys, thanks so much for joining the stream, and I'll see you for an NFP Friday live stream. Cheers, guys. Thanks for now.